Hi there. Today we're going to learn about one of the most intense wars in history, the Great Emu War. The year is 1932. Our setting, Australia. Land of Vegemite, the Hemsworth brothers, and upside-down kangaroos. I should stop trying accents in my videos. At this point in history, the world had kind of been depressed for a couple of years, with the depression hitting Australia particularly hard, especially their farmers. At the end of World War I, many soldiers were given farmland in Western Australia upon returning home. And when the Great Depression hit, the Australian government encouraged these farmers to increase their wheat production. But it was kind of tough for these farmers to grow more wheat, given that the country as a whole was going through it financially. The government had not given farmers some subsidies they had previously promised, and, to make it worse, they had a massive infestation of emus on their hands. These emus normally migrated to the coast for half of the year, but when they found all of the new farms inland, they decided they'd kick it for a while. Let's talk about emus for a second. Here's their stat line. Emus feature a 6 feet tall build, stupid long necks, bodies built like literal tanks, meaning they were unfazed by a couple bullets to the torso, crazy appetites, and a sprint speed of up to 30 miles per hour. All of these stats made these birds incredibly annoying to deal with. The farmers were sick of what little crops they had getting eaten by these, what do you call it? Mobs of emus. If only there was a way for them to keep the emus from entering their farms. So these farmers made the obvious decision and turned to the Royal Australian Military for assistance. For some reason, the government was like, alright, and put Major Gwynedd Meredith in charge of 2 soldiers, 2 Lewis machine guns, 10,000 bullets, and a lot of ambition. But the emus were ready. These bird equivalents of an overweight Gumby had already held their battle planning sessions and decided that they would use guerrilla warfare against the Australians. And it worked. The soldiers' first mission began on November 2nd, when they came across a mob of birds near the small town of Campion. They sprung into action and prepared for direct confrontation with the enemy. The soldiers tightened their grips on their Lewis machine guns, but their ambition got the best of them, and they opened fire out of range, and as a result, most of the birds were able to escape before much damage could be done. Soon after, the group stumbled upon some more birds, and this time, they were determined to make up for their previous blunder. They made sure to get within range, but the emu's voodoo magic must have kicked in, because as soon as they began firing, the gun jammed, and they were only able to kill 12 birds. One other hilarious tidbit is that at one point, the soldiers tried mounting the machine gun on the back of the truck and chasing down the emus to shoot them. This went about as well as you'd think it would. The ride through the outback was so rough that none of the shots hit their mark, and the emus escaped. Over the next couple days, they didn't have much more success, and the Australian House of Representatives called off the mission. This didn't please the farmers that had originally requested the help, though. They were pretty pissed, and not 4 days after the mission was called off, the Prime Minister was convinced to send the troops back out to fight. And so, Western Australia once again had boots on the ground. This time around, they had a little bit more success in their missions. Just how much success is somewhat debated, as Meredith himself claimed they killed 986 emus with 9,860 bullets, which, I'm no mathematician, but an exact 10-to-1 bullets to clap ratio seems a little too good to be true. But regardless, the amount of resources spent in comparison to the results were nothing to brag about, and the Australian government, sort of embarrassed, pulled out of the entire operation. And so, the emus won the war. Although I was glad to read that Meredith reported no casualties among his men from the conflict, except for the trauma inflicted from battle.
Mark, it's been 4 years. They're not going to hurt you. Please come out of there.
No, I see them in my dreams.
The horrors, their claws, their speed. They laughed in my face. Well, they were stuck with bullets.
They're in here right now. I can hear them. Oh my days. They're coming for me.
I am well aware that I am not the first person to make a video on this topic, but something I haven't heard mentioned in other videos is the fact that the Australian farmers asked the military not 1, not 2, but 3 more times to help get rid of the emus, all of which requests were, of course, rejected because, obviously. In the end, the government ended up introducing a previously used bounty system for citizens to take out the emus themselves, and reported nearly 60,000 bounties filled within 6 months. And farmers started using barrier fencing to keep the emus out, instead of the simple rabbit-proof fencing they were already using. These two strategies pretty much solved the entire problem, so they really could have avoided this whole situation in the first place. But hey, at least some good memes came out of it. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, the emu is widely considered the unofficial national bird of Australia, and it's on the Australian coat of arms. In the United States, if you so much as breathe wrong in the direction of a bald eagle, tough luck, you're doing 25 to life. But in Australia, they pay you to kill them. God bless Australia. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. This is Not Quite History, and I'll see you next time.